In previous videos, people have come up to me and mentioned before that I might not rank health and safety as the highest thing on my list when I'm working through whatever project I'm doing. And yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I do want to get the job done, and I look out for myself second. With that in mind, today's video, we're going to be putting in all the electrics. So let me show you the problem that we've got, and we'll go from there. What we've got is the distribution box. Now it has 2 channels for everything. All it's got is one that goes to the socket and one that goes to the light switch, and that's it. That is not enough for what I need. So if I'm on this side of the workshop and I need power, for like I do for the welding on this MX5, then I'm plugged into an extension lead, which goes all the way around to those sockets over there. It's the only power that I've got. This is my setup for when I'm doing all my video editing. Let me show you, by grabbing the camera, what I'm doing. Around here, I've got everything plugged into a multi, and that goes to that same extension lead that comes from downstairs. To make things worse, the other socket here goes round the back and powers the ramp. You can see the cable is coming down here into there and down to the control box. This is the only power that I have in the building, so there's a lot that needs to be done. Now, to replace that old 2-way downstairs, I have a 10-way box. This is going to be more than enough for me to be able to do what I want to do in this single room unit. I can have electric upstairs, lights upstairs, electric on the other side upstairs for like fabrication kit, and then downstairs I can have the ramp, the lights and the worktop all on completely separate unit, on separate rings, and still have channels to spare. It's going to be ideal. So the plan is that I'm going to put this one on the wall, and I'm going to start putting in the connections that I need. So I'll run the electric up here, then I'll run some electric over there, and put in all the feeds, all the loops, and then I'm going to get the mains electric turned off, swap over the power from the old consumer to the new consumer, and then hopefully when I switch it back on, everything's going to spring to life and the whole place will be amazing. First things first, let's get this on the wall. Check this out for a win. I managed to get 30 meters of wall conduit for nothing. I got 8x3 in white and 2x3 in black. So I'm going to put one of the black ones upstairs so it looks nice against the desk, and then the white ones will go down here. Let's get one up there now and see how it looks. This is what I've decided. I've got my downstairs and my upstairs looms. I'm going to use the big 40 to power the ramp. Then I've got 2 rings for plugs. The one that goes above the workbench so I can run power tools. And then the fabrication area, which has got like my linisher and pillar drill, and all of that is going to be in the corner. So I'm going to run those on a separate loom just in case. I'm going to do all the lights on a light 16 and then a ambient light. So I thought, maybe like where the Hot Wheels are, I might put in some LEDs or something like that, and that'd be quite cool. Upstairs, I'm going to have the desk, and that is this area here where my computer runs for editing and stuff like that. And then around the other side where the car is and where the ramp is, I'm going to put some plugs on the walls. Not too many, just enough. So if I need power over there, I've got it. 1 circuit for the lights, 1 circuit for ambient. No idea what I'm going to do with that yet, but it's there. And then I've got another spare. So let's put these back in the wall, and then we can start looking at wires. So we're going to have a go at wiring up the first plug line, and let's see how we get on. So let's take the neutral to 6, which is here. And the live is going to go to... Now these are numbered different. They're 1 to 6 in the other direction. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll send this one to here. And then the earth is going to go, the live, sorry, is going to go to here. So I'll take this one about here. That is going to be my first circuit. Sweet. Okay, let's get to the other end. For the first socket here, I've decided to put in a inline switch. And the reason for it is that this bank of plugs is going to be running my computer and editing and things like that. And I don't need this on while I'm working downstairs, but a lot of the equipment automatically goes on standby. So if I put an override switch on, then I have saved myself a bit of electric, which is nice. So I'm going to take this cable from the fuse box. I'm going to come up through the bottom of the switch, and then that's going to go on there. Now, I've also cut an extra bit of wire here to get to the next plug socket. So we'll put that in now. And then I can screw this into the wall, and then we can wire up the plug. So 2 ticks. So on the back of this one, we've got, where is it? There we go. Earth connections. So for 1 in, 1 out, doesn't matter which way they go around. And then we've got live in, neutral in, live out, neutral out. So this is very straightforward. It's just an inline switch. First plug socket. This is, let me centralize that in the camera. Right, there we go. Straight double plug, couple of switches. We got neutral, live, no, earth, live, neutral, and then another earth. They're joined, so that don't matter. So if I run the cable about here, this long, I can reach all of these pins, and then I'll do the same for the next one. This is the one that's going to the next socket. This is the one that's come from the switch. We'll bunch them up. Not bad, not bad. As long as it fits. Good start. 5 to go. Nice. Now for the other end. Next on my list is going to be connecting the 4-post lift to the fuse box. I've saved a slot up there ready for it on a 32 or a 40, I think. When I fitted this lift, I originally put a 1.5mm cable on it and put a plug on the other end of it so I could use it off of that one power supply that I have. But I've since been advised that that's not strong enough. So instead of just taking the plug off the end and putting it to the fuse box, I'm going to take all the cable out, change it to 2.5mm, run it all nicely, and then put it straight into the fuse box that way. So let's get this open and start disconnecting the old wire. The next loop on the electrics is going to be the downstairs lighting. That is the most desperate thing that I need at the moment. So I'm upstairs measuring all out purely because I got light down here. So it's going underneath the mezzanine that I'm sat on. So I'm using the mezzanine to measure it all out and position 3 on the outside and then 2 on that side because where the third one would be, that's where the ladder is. Bonus that I can take off the, he says, not being able to take it off, he can take off the LEDs like this. And then I can use the housing. Oh my God, this is a rubbish bit of video, apologies. I can use the housing to measure it up against the walls, but the electrical connection is still here, so I can wire it all up and then put the LEDs back later. So let's take these apart and fit into the ceiling. So as you've seen, I put the box up first, then I put the trunking, and then I decided to do this, and that's not in line. Does it annoy me enough to do it again? To get the electrics round to the rest of the building, I'm going to go via the roof. So I've had a look up there, and I can get behind these ceiling beams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of conduit like this, flush it off at the top there, and then I can run the wires up, in, and around. And I think it'll just look tidier. So let's get that on the wall, and then we can do the lighting ring for downstairs. Also, this stuff cuts really well with an angle grinder, and I'm annoyed at myself that I didn't think of it first. Bubbles. The downstairs lights, they are on channel 4 over here. So I'm using a 1.5mm cable, which is absolutely fine for the rating. The neutral's going to go in here. That's numbered number 4. And then the neutral, let's do the live, that's in this one. Number 4 again. And then the earth can go up here. Good. Let's get down the other end. Now that I've had a bit of help with this, I can actually show you what's happened. The 2 wires came in a loop. Neutral has not been disconnected. The earth has been cut, but it's been joined and just shared with the housing because it's a metal housing. You don't want the housing to run the risk of going live, so you connect the earth to it. But the second one that I do, I don't have to connect the earth because this is earth by this cable. The live has gone into the 2 ports on the switch, so the switch on the back is just breaking or reconnecting the earth lead between live lead between 1 and the 2. So the next one that comes in is going to be a cable in and a cable out, and in a loop, and I just have to open it up, break the live, put it in the other 2 sockets, and then the other switch will work. That's actually a lot easier than I thought it'd be. Nice. Conveniently, well, I'm sure they're all the same, but what's good is that these connections to the live have 2 sockets on each. So what I'm going to do is just daisy the light. That's easy. So we're back with the plugs. Now, there's 2 kinds of wiring looms that you can put in. One is a radial, where it goes in line from the fuse box and then daisies on to each one, and one is a ring. Now, on the wall here, I've done it as a radial because I've put a switch on the end here. And the reason for that is so that I can master switch the computer on and off without having to worry about turning off each piece of kit separately. Different to that, downstairs is going to have this one, and that's going to be on a ring. And that means that it's going to come out of the fuse box into this end, through all of these, and then out and back to the fuse box at the same points. And the benefit of that is that if there's any problems with it, they're a lot easier to track because you can do continuity checks and things like that. And it also means that the distribution of loads is fine as well. I put this together exactly the same as I did that one. I don't think you needed to see it again, but we will do the ring thing together. Let's take this one downstairs and start wiring it in. Now, I might regret putting these up here. There's a good chance of it because I thought it was a really good idea. They would be out of the way, and if there's things on the bench, then I could have a cable going over it without it being caught and things like that. And I thought, yeah, that'd be cool. It'll also tuck it out of the way and be nice and safe. But I've since noticed, one sec, that when I'm stood there, I can't quite reach. Now, I'm hoping that I'll get used to it. I'm hoping that I probably won't need them all that often, but you know, if I do regret it, I hope it's not too difficult to move them. I guess we'll find out. Right, here we go. Got the new cable coming in here. Got number 2 live on here. I got number 2 earth on here and number 2 neutral. I have since worked out that I should have done it 1 to 10 and not 1 to 10, but you know, there we go, live and learn. The cable is going to go up here, round the back of that beam, along there, into that conduit that I just fitted off camera because I thought it might be nice. And then where the mezzanine is, it's going to go down here, and then under there somewhere, downstairs, is where the plugs are. Let me show you. That was lucky. I thought I left myself loads of room, and I did not. So that channel 2 is the bench plugs. So the electric is going through this one, round the building, down to the plug sockets downstairs into one end, out the other end, all the way back round through this cable here, and then going into the same number 2, and number 2. And that creates the ring. And then if you ever need to continuity test it, you could take both of these out and check that there's a loop from one to the other. Clever stuff. Well, we're getting massively close now. This is really exciting. This cable that I've got in is going to be for the second light switch And what I've done is I've run it on a separate loom upstairs on a separate fuse down to here. And then when the old electric is being turned off, I'm going to take the cable from the old light switch, move it into the back of the new light switch. And then hopefully when I turn it on, that's going to circuit straight into the lights that are already in the ceiling. So this could be the last one. Well, the last one for this stage. There's more to be done after this. I've got all sorts of different plans, but until the rest of the mezzanine is built, I can't do anything about those yet. So this is certainly how far I'm planning on getting through this video and through this phase of doing the wiring. Having a set of lights and plugs upstairs and downstairs is going to be a huge step forward for this workshop. And just to be completist, what I've got is the earth cable for the new ones going to the earth with the others. I know I didn't have to do it, but I've done it. The live is going to the second switch here, and the neutral is going to a Wago because that's going to connect in when this loom comes out. Hopefully I'll have a spare lead and I'll just clip it in there and it'll be job done. And what I reckon is happening is that the feed is coming in from here. They're both coming down this one here, going into the socket. Then the lights one is going in here behind the switch and then off into the roof, because this light doesn't join in at any point to the fuse box except for through this. So I reckon that if I switch that light off, unplug this, take this wire out of here and put it into this side of the new switch, then that will take all of the upstairs lights into the new wiring circuit. Well, that's what I think's going to happen anyway. We'll find out. Well, clearly not. They've taken a 2.5mm cable into the switch. They've put the earth to the box as you would, but they've taken the live and the neutral and used the switch as a loop. So the live is coming in, going through the switch and then going back out via the neutral, which means somewhere upstairs is a junction box, which is connecting this to the fuse box. Where's that then? Now that I'm upstairs, I can see what they've done. The switch is coming up this cable here and they've bodged it. Look at that. There's a patch lead going into the conduit from the box down to the switch. And then they've patched it in here, taken the cable off round there, and then gone into this business, these 3 plugs here. These 2 go to the 2 lights in the ceiling. This looks open and live. That's a whole lot of fun. I might be able to work out what's going on here, but to be honest, a distribution box is like £2, so I'm bidding all of this. Let's get it gone. Slight separate issue with the lights disconnected completely. This still has power because it has an inbuilt battery that's running this light on low voltage as an emergency. So what this means is that this light now needs a permanent live as well as the switch live so that it can charge the battery when the power is out. It changes how the wiring is going to be done, and with a lot of help from Andy, he's put all this wiring in, and now I can see it and I can see how it works and I can hopefully explain it to you and still make sense. So main power's coming in this way and it's going out onto channel 4. Channel 4 is going, the live is on channel 4, the neutral's up at the top and the earth is up at the top. And that's going off to the switch downstairs and then coming back on this cable here. This cable is got the live and neutral blanked off because we didn't need it at the other end. The only circuit that we're completing from this is the live. So the live is tapped into the two switches here, and you can see these two white cables here are the ones that go to the lights above me. So the live is coming from here out up there to the switch, and then back through to this Wago, and then straight to the lights. The lights go straight to the neutral and to the earth, so I didn't need separate wires for that. So the only thing that happens is the downstairs switch cuts the live feed. This black wire here is the emergency lighting. So on one of the lights, it's got a 4-core instead of a 3-core, and the black is going directly to a permanent live so that the light is powered all of the time. It's getting power even when the light switch is turned off, and it's charging up the battery that's built in, so that if the power was to be cut at all, that light would then flick to battery power and stay on. That's pretty cool. Every circuit that I was planning on putting in before I did the switch over is now in. So the next thing to do is just do a little bit of testing before I take the cabling out of the old power supply distribution block and put it into the new distribution block. And the way that I'm going to test it is with this. Now this is the cable that I was using to run my 4-post ramp before I had all of this. The ramp is 240 single phase. All of this is 240 single phase. And the way that I was running it was just plugging it into the wall and running it off a socket. So I'm going to do that again. I've got the other end of this, and I'm going to wire it into the input of this board and then use this essentially as an extension lead. So the power's going to come in from the old loom on the socket, and then it's going to come into here, and then I can test each circuit individually and make sure that everything works before I do the main switch over. Oh, that's some exciting stuff. What I've got, oh my God, there's a train going past, hold on. The test loom is coming in here, and it's connecting to the main switch on the live here, because the live's at that end. The neutral here, again, that's coming in and patching into all of those. And the neutral is coming up to the end point here to feed all of those. I think there's a crimp connection in this last one, which I can use when I've got the main loom in. But for now, I'm just using the one next to it because this is all temporary. So let's get the covers on and plug it in. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh. All right, what have I done? I can tell you exactly what I've done, and I'm a little bit disappointed that you lot didn't tell me. What I've got here is 3 banks of neutrals, which correspond to the 1, 2, 3 banks of switches, the main and the 2 RCA loops. Now, what I'd done is I collected some of the neutrals from one of the banks onto the main neutral loop, so that regardless of which way the switch was, it was still going to that loop and not to this loop, and not creating the circuit, and it was getting upset about it. So it kept flicking the switch. Now that I've moved everything off of that one and onto its correct corresponding loop, hopefully it's going to work this time. Let's have a go. Here we go, take 2. Oh yeah, look at this. Next thing is the sockets. Now, I could go around the building with something that I own, plug it in and see if it works. But for just £5 at Screwfix, I have a socket tester, which is very cool. Let me show you what's going on here. We got just a bunch of LED lights on the top, and if it's right, I'm going to get 2 greens, and if there is a particular fault, I'm going to get a warning message telling me what's wrong with it, which is way easier than trying to figure it out for myself. So let's bung this in all the sockets and see where we are. But before we do that, we're going to test the tester with a control. This socket is on the previous loom. So I've been using it forever, so I know that it's okay. So we'll bung this in and hopefully we'll get the result that we expect. There we go. 2 green lights and the beep shows that it is correct. Let's see if the other plugs do the same. Workshop TV. Yes. 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 Nice. The last test, the ramp. Looking good. Yes! Ah! Nice! That's absolutely brilliant. Testing 99% perfect. Only one minor mistake in the entire thing, apart from that wiring, we'll forget we did that, is the switch is upside down. So 2 screws, turn it around, bung it back in. There we go. That is all of the electrics that we're doing in this phase. There's going to be some more. I need plug sockets on that side of the building. I need lights on that side of the building. I need to put in an extra plug down here because I want to run a kettle. It gets very hot in here in the summer, so I want to run some ceiling fans, and I've got all the channels ready to go for that. But for now, to have lights up and down and plugs up and down and emergency lighting up here and the ramp working, this is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Next is the big changeover. There's nothing left to do here. I'm going to take the power from the old fuse box, the old distribution box, sorry, we're going to take the power from the old distribution box, run it to this distribution box, take out the extension lead that I'm running for test, and that's job done. Exciting stuff. This is where the power comes in from the other side. So the electric is coming from next door. We used the switch next door to turn it off. Then we put in this junction box, which used to go down the column here, down along here, and into the old distribution box there. And now it takes its feed across the top, behind the purlin, down here, and is on this chunky little monkey here. 1, 2 neutral, and then the other 2 going straight here into the main switch in. So that is now the master switch from the main power. That was easy. And that is that. What a massive step forward for this place. To not have any light downstairs, to have to run an extension lead all the way around the building to get power. This changes everything. I'm so happy. It's all gone really well. There's more to come, and it's only going to get bigger and it's only going to get better. So thank you so much for hanging around with this video for me. If you want to press the buttons, if you want to press this one, that would really help me out and support me through more projects and more things to come. And I've got some really exciting things to come. So again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.